It's just weird the way the police and the criminals have worked together before I got my 18-year prison sentence and after. The police and the local drug dealing families have worked against us in 2000s and that.
Planning your next getaway.
Told you, mate, them Farleys, mate, dirty firm, that.
With our in-app
Dirty firm, mate.
see how you spend and what you can set aside.
They had policemen coming onto our estate for them, targeting us. They used to train with them in the gym on Edge Lane. What was it called? Years ago there was a brand new gym opened on there, and all the feds from the OSD, Operational Support Division, used to train in there. And I've gone there once, years later, with a kid called Snowy, which was Champ's runaround, like a little runner for the Farleys. I've gone in there with him to do a training session, and I'm witnessing Champ, Ian Farley, Alan Farley, training with these dirty coppers that have been stitching us for the last 12 months and that. Seeing Mick Donnelly training with Officer Baird and people, I'm thinking, wow, how are you training with these when they're on our estate putting swag on kids and getting them 3 years and that? It was Mick Donnelly and that, weren't it? Sending the feds onto us, mate, because we were taking the George in Anfield. Just not on purpose, we were just setting up shop after years of not being allowed to. We broke into the market, started taking graft around the area, and everyone was unhappy about it. And when we started getting into conflicts with situations, like with people that they couldn't deal with, so like the Farleys and that, they couldn't deal with this kid called Mikey Wright. Mikey Wright made a cunt to them. They couldn't deal with it. But then a few months later, a year later, we're in conflict with Mikey Wright, and we're dealing with it. Do you understand what I'm saying? That made them look irrelevant, but what they done to get in on the angle is start supplying us with weapons. Cunts, aren't they? So now we're in conflict with the Wrights, and now the people that have been trying to ruin us because it was around Tommy Gilday. It's the whole agenda from the Farleys because it was around Tommy Gilday and not them. They're now giving us weapons to deal with the Wrights and that. So the weapon that was used in the David Regan murder, the Beretta with the silencer on it, that came directly from Christopher Farley. So you can imagine it, can't you? I go to jail a few months later, come out 12 years later, and you've got Christopher Farley, a high-ranking Freemason, a legit, getting embraced by the feds and all this mad shit, and I'm just thinking, wow. Sort of proved everything that I'd been saying about it. Complete wrong-uns, mate. Used and abused young lads to establish themselves a reputation. Now the Farleys, you'd always get it's the Farleys, but there was loads of people that made the Farleys. Chrissy Farley's never really been game with a blade, he's been good with his hands, but he's never been a murderer. But he's had loads of kids that have had that murdering instinct round them. All of them got used and abused and left to rot years later when they moved on with the millions and the big houses and that. Like your decent kids, like your Eddie McCabe's and your people like him just got left out in the cold. But you'd had other people attached to the Farleys, which was like, you'd had like the McLarens, Carl Coldicott, Anthony Scott, all these weird people from back in it, all steroid abusing weird creatures. Not the McLarens were decent. But even the McLarens, but even the Farleys got them into shit as well, didn't they? They snitched on the Clarks, the Farleys, but the McLarens got the flak for it. Do you understand what I'm saying? When the Clarks allegedly came and done one of the things years ago, one of them turned gangster. One of the Farleys turned gangster and asked for dough and that. They started that off in the city, like. They got attacked. I think I'm not sure who it was anyway, but they got attacked and then they asked for dough for it. You're charged up, you're going to jail unless you give us money. So they call it blackmail, but I called it was. But they started a trend off in the city then, and then loads of people participated in it. You know, before you know it, you've got Carlos Scousers, who was basically a Farley, a Lee O'Reilly, a Pancake. And when it was going off with the Lynches, he was working for the Farleys basically. And the Lynches have gone into the Zeta and Vine, sprayed it off, ballied up, got this Carlos, given him something like 120 stitches, left him in a mess. You know, Sean Lynch and that, left him in a mess. He's turned around, snitched, and then said to them, I want dough. So now you've got this trend in the city of Liverpool now. Anyone that's getting a bullet in the leg, they're making statements and going, I want dough. That's why a lot of snitching started in the city of Liverpool on the back of the Farleys, mate. Might sound like I'm just hating on them. I'm not really. I'm just telling you how they are. You know, even young Alan, lad, he's one mad, perverted man in, mate. And anyone that knows him from his teenage, youthful years will tell you exactly. I don't need to speak. You know, people within them fraternities know. He's a Jason Fitzgibbon type character, Alan Farley, young Alan. And if you know what I mean by a fake Jason Fitzgibbon type character, if you've been in a party with Jason Fitzgibbon, or if you've been any to them Diddy parties with him, or all this mad shit, you'll know exactly what I'm on about. Mad, mad, mad. Gone in the head shit, mates. Damaging young girls all over the gaff and that. You know, they're like 29 and they've got like an 18-year-old girl doing atrocious, horrible, mad shit to them. And that Ian Morgan, I tell you who the worst for it. Carlos Scousers, Ian Morgan, Mark McMullen and young Alan Farley, mates. I've seen them in some weird, mad shit like. Honest. Some mad shit, mate. Macher and Mad Dog used to just slam it in this after GCA. Darren, what are you doing? Do you want to get with us? Come on then, yeah. I'd jump in, they'd go and get Carlos Scousers from the South End, and then they'd end up on the Dock Road where the brasses stood. And they had this brass, the favourite brass was named Tiger. Some black woman from Toxford. Some of the sick shit they were doing. And I was only young. I was just shocked. I was just like, wow, I'm not going with yous again. I just never went with them again, man. And then years ago, we had this woman called Snatch. You might have heard me speak about this story, Snatch. I'm convinced there was an offence that's getting made in that house, mate. And it's unfortunate for the daughters, because they probably thought it was normal what was going on in there. And if they realise now that it's not, they're too scared to say nothing. Why? Because it's the Farleys. But I used to have this mate called Peter Almond. He turned out to be a snitch. He blew Danny Reid up on a murder years ago and moved to Spain. But before all that kicked in, he used to live in a place called Goldie Street on Sleepers Hill. And right next door to him, Snatch moved in with her children. Now Snatch, I think originally was from Manchester. What was her name? Pat something. And she was a big woman with short red hair. And I think she battered both ways, and she'd been to jail, and she had loads of tattoos of men's names up and... So she was a bit of a goer, but
there were days that I stayed in the life.
It was still wrong.
Never the experience I would do it.
So for example, one example, I've come out of his and it's about, come out of Peter's, and it's about 11:30 in the morning, and the door's ajar like it always is, and I've just burst in, went in the room, all the lights are off. In the corner you've got an adult movie, and you've got these wild Snatches there, all going for it. I didn't see the little girl Lisa in the corner. So you've got 4 grown men, early 20s, all doing what you should do in your bedroom as a young boy, with the mum and the young girls in the vicinity. Now as the months start going by, and like 8 months later shit like this, you've got these young girls giving these chews. You've got 3 of them working on one of these young girls at once, and I'm witnessing all this. I'm not part of it. I'm going in going, wow, views. Do you get what I'm saying? I'm not lying. There's just no need for me to lie. I'm not lying. And it's a shame that the young girls have not got the, I wouldn't call it the strength. You mightn't even know. I might be making them feel uncomfortable here, so I'm just going to stop talking about it, to be honest. It's not good, is it? But this is all the shit that you witness when you're growing up, and you keep your mouth shut. Why? Because you think it's normal. You're growing up with like the hardest people in the city, you're around them, and you think that behaviour's normal. You've probably got 16-year-old kids with 29-year-old drug dealers now floating with them, going to mad situations, watching mad shite with brasses and that, and they're thinking that's the way you treat these birds. And do you get what I'm saying? And it's just not. It's just not, mate. And the city's rife with all them drug dealers. All them people, I know what they're like in their mind, mate. Honest, I never participated. Why? Because I was the one who was always going to jail.